In this video, we're going to discuss about rotating magnetic field in the three-phase induction motor. So let us supply three-phase with a phase difference of 120 degree. This circulates current in three-phase winding with a phase difference of 120 degree, and this current produces the magnetic flux with a phase difference of 120 degree. And this vector diagram and waveform is common for current, voltage, and flux. Let us consider the magnetic flux equation and waveform. So on this waveform, I am going to consider three different instants. That is, at 0 instant, the angle, that is omega t, is equal to 0, and at the second instant, the omega t value is 60 degree, and at the third instant, that is fourth one, omega t is equal to 120 degree. Let us substitute all these three value in this equations. What happens to the magnetic flux? We'll check it out. Now let us put omega t is equal to 0 in these three equations. This is the result. Now we'll put this results on the vector diagram. The red color part is 0 and yellow is having with the minus sign. It is exactly indicated opposite to the yellow color line. Okay, so now we're getting that these two, the fluxes here, the resultant of these two vectors are represented by pi r. This is what we can call that pi r. So now I'm going to represent this triangle with the name O A B. So now I would like to draw the line AC which is perpendicular to OB. Here OC and CB both are equal. So that means here OB is equal to OC plus CB. OC and CB both are equal, therefore it is 2 times of OC. Now the angle between the line OA and OC is 30 degree. How 30 degree means? The total angle between the blue and red color is 120 degree. After drawing this line, it is 60 degree, and this line is 60 degree. After drawing the line again, OB, this angle is 30. So now let us consider cos 30 from the right angle triangle OAC. That cos 30 is equal to adjacent side, that is OC divided by hypotenuse OA. Well, so already we know that the OC value is nothing but OB divided by, the OC value is nothing but OB divided by 2. So therefore it is OB divided by 2 into OA. The cos 30 value is root 3 by 2, where OB is nothing but the pi r. So write this value root 3 by 2 is equal to OB value is what we can say is a pi r 2 into OA. The OA value is nothing but the blue line. Its value is root 3 by 2 into pi m. These two get cancelled. Let us take this entire term into left hand side. Then it is root 3 by 2 into root 3 is equal to pi r. Root 3 into root 3 is 3. 3 divided by 2 is 1.5. Finally, the result of the pi r is 1.5 pi m. This details is represented in this way for the detailed calculation. So now the resultant vector is this, the moment when omega t is equal to 0. The next instant we'll put omega t is equal to 60 degree in these three flux equations. So this is the result, and this is the vector diagram for these equations. Let us reconstruct this vector diagram when omega t is equal to 60 degree. When omega t is equal to 60 degree, so the blue color is 0 and yellow color is having minus sign. Okay, now the resultant of these two is what you can call that pi r. Already we know that the pi r value is the resultant value is 1.5 pi m. Again we'll go to that the next instant. At this instant omega t is equal to 120 degree. Let us put this value in the flux equations. These are the results what we're getting. Now we'll represent the vector diagram for the given or the calculated flux values. In this case the pi y is equal to 0, pi y is equal to 0, and pi b is minus sign. So this is having minus sign with the magnitude of root 3 by 2 pi m, and this is root 3 by 2 pi m. The resultant of these two vectors are pi r. Well, so if I consider all different instants when omega t is equal to 0, the resultant flux is in this direction when at omega is equal to 0, and when omega is equal to 60 degree the resultant flux is moved from this place to the next place. This is at when angle is 60 degree. Again when the instant is 120 degree the flux is changed from this positions to this position. That means the as the instant is changes the flux is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. This is the concept of rotating magnetic field. Well, in this video, we'll understand the concept of rotating magnetic field, how the rotating magnetic field is produces, and the credit of this video is goes to Tesad University, and this video is used for only for education purpose, not for any commercial. Let us see here.
So I'll keep it
When
through.
angle changes, see that the flux is rotating in clockwise direction. Okay, so this is the concept of rotating magnetic field. Now we'll see working of three-phase induction motor. The moment when AC supply is connected to the stator produces rotating magnetic field which rotates at synchronous speed. See here in this diagram, the RMF is rotating in clockwise direction, and out of many rotor conductors I consider only one for the simplicity. According to the Faraday's law, we know that when conductor is constant the magnetic field changes, then EMF induces in the conductor, and this conductor's path is closed by the end rings due to short circuit. So the current will circulate in each conductor. As you know that the current carrying conductor produces magnetic field around it. So due to the flux from the rotor conductor and RMF, there will be interactions. Hence, the rotor will start rotating. In this case, the rotor will start rotating due to the principle of induction. So hence, this type of motor is called three-phase induction motor. Now we'll see some important terms related to three-phase induction motor. As you know that the moment when supply is given to the three-phase induction motor that produces rotating magnetic field and which rotates with a constant speed, that is called synchronous speed, that can be calculated by using the equation ns is equal to 120 f divided by p, where f is the supply frequency and p is the number of poles on the stator winding. Now, so the rotor is rotates with a speed that is called n. In the three-phase induction motor, the one important point we have to always remember, that is the synchronous speed is always greater than the rotor speed. This concept is very important. Well, so now we'll see that the difference between the synchronous speed and the rotor speed is called slip speed. Okay, usually slip is calculated by using the equation that is the ratio of slip speed to the synchronous speed. Suppose if the rotor is stationary, that means when n is equal to 0, what could be the slip then? So slip is equal to, it is a ns minus n, ns minus n value is 0. So what happens in the standstill condition is nothing but ns get cancelled, the slip is going to be 1. This is true when the rotor is in standstill condition. Standstill condition. Okay, now we'll calculate frequency of the rotor current. As you know that when rotor is stationary, the supply frequency itself is the rotor frequency. While rotating of the rotor, the frequency of the rotor is directly proportional to the slip speed. That is ns minus n is equal to 120 f dash divided by p. And we know that synchronous speed can be calculated by using this equation. The ratio of these two will get that slip ns minus n divided by ns, that is equal to f dash divided by f. Then the rotor frequency can be calculated by using the equation f dash is equal to sf. Starter for three-phase induction motor. Why starters are required to start induction motor? Because to prevent high starting current and low starting torque. So what happens in the standstill condition? Before starting the motor is in standstill condition. In the standstill condition, the rotor frequency and stator frequency both are same. So therefore, the stator will carry more current. That current might be in the order of 5 to 7 times of its full load current. Due to this high current, the torque has been reduced to 1.5 to 2.5 times. So due to this high starting current, so that is going to be create a large voltage drop in the lines. Due to this large voltage drop in the lines, that may affect other devices which are connected to the same line. So therefore starters are required. And one more point is, to start the motor in safe conditions, starters are required. We'll see star delta starter. This is one of the very simple starter. So this is the supply side. This switch is called TPST, that means triple pole single throw switch. And this is another switch that is called triple pole double throw switch. So one end of the winding is connected to DP-DT switch, another ending is connected to TP-ST switch. Okay, so this is the squirrel case rotor. So the moment when TP-ST is connected to the main supply, so all these three windings are connected to short circuit, that makes a star fashion. So why we're using star connections at the starter means, we know that in the star fashion IL is equal to IPH and EL is equal to root 3 times of EPH. That means each line the voltage has been reduced to root 3 times. So therefore, which reduces the starting voltage. So due to the reduced voltage, the current reduces. Hence, the star fashions are required in the starting condition. The moment when its motor start rotating, which reaches 80% of its full load speed, then this DP-DT switches from star connections to delta connections. In the delta connections, we know that IL is equal to root 3 times of the IPH and EL is equal to EPH. That increases the current. Due to increase the current, the speed also increases. So therefore, star delta starters are required to start three-phase induction motors in safe condition.